Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can hear us live as well on our live audio streaming on Evox PBS Receiver app. Join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo. Surveys out and the trust in the media declines. A recent survey released by Publicus Asia a few days ago revealed a decline in trust in mainstream media as fake news and disinformation continue to influence public perception, particularly in the lead up to the May 2025 elections. The findings highlighted the shifting media consumption habits among Filipino voters and increasing skepticism towards news outlets. And that survey revealed that public trust towards most of media networks and news outlets in the Philippines has declined, though it still receives a huge percentage of trust. On the other hand, according to the said survey, traditional media platforms remain significant sources of political news and current events as social media platform dominates. In addition, as for daily engagement, social media dominates over television, radio, and streaming platforms. So does this indicate that Filipinos are shifting towards digital platforms for real-time news and information? Also, despite the decline on media trust, will the Philippine media regain trust? So joining me now to explain the survey of the Publicus Asia is the Quad Media strategist from Publicus Asia, the survey company behind this survey that I've just mentioned. So joining me now is Ms. Kayla Villanueva of Publicus Asia. Ms. Kayla, thank you for joining us in the program.
Good morning, Jerome. Good
Alright.
morning, everyone who's tuned in Radio Pilipinas and Front and Center.
Okay, so thank you for joining us in this edition of Front and Center. Okay, so I would like to start, Kayla, on media consumption. So, what are the top reasons why Filipinos get their news online?
Yeah, so Jerome, if we're going to compare how people consume media right now, online access is a very easy one as compared to traditional media. If we're going to remember back then, we only get news via print, TV, and radio.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you remember in TV, we have to wake up very early to watch the morning news
Yeah.
and then go home early evening just in time for dinner and also the evening news. So that's just the summary of what happened all throughout the day. But right now in online, of course, it's always somehow like breaking news or the famous just in. So
Mm-hmm.
people get to get those access right then and there, almost real time, if not actually real time. So that's the reason why people resort to online platform these days.
Mm-hmm. So, you mentioned that before people tend to turn on television or turn on the radio to hear the latest updates regarding in our country, but now Filipinos has easy access online. So that's the you mean because phones or mobile phones right now is easy to access? Is that the reason?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons, but probably only in certain areas like highly urbanized cities. But we cannot still not say that traditional media is no longer relevant because
Mm,
Remember, in provinces and remote areas, TV and radio are still their top source of information, especially
mm.
radio in provinces. So that's why there is really no decline in radio consumption, especially in the province, because people there tend to get their news through the radio.
I see. And given that explanation, Kayla, so are traditional media still relevant these days, despite the continuing dominance of social media?
Sorry, if you can you
Yeah.
repeat the
Given
question?
the explanation you just given, Kayla, are traditional media still relevant these days, despite the dominance of social media?
Of course, traditional media is still relevant. When we talk about traditional media, there is really a process when it comes to delivering news. It's just that probably people resort to online because they are looking for more answers. So we are asking what happened
Mm-hmm.
to some kind of investigative news, those kinds of news that people are looking for more answers since information is so handy. People really
Mm-hmm.
want to connect certain issues. So they really want to hear all sides of the story. They want to
Mm-hmm.
know what's this person's take on this issue and then the response. So it should be looking into all angles of the story.
I see. Okay, so it looks like people these days tend to find
Mm.
angles, not just one that is being reported by news media organizations like I
Yeah.
mentioned a few of them like GMA News as well as
Mhm.
ABS-CBN News and also PTV News, right,
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Uh,
It's really regardless if it's government owned, it's private, or
uh,
it's now in online platform. The way it should be reported is really how people perceive to get the information.
I see. And that is anchored on finding the truth behind the
Yes.
news or information.
Yes. Yes. I think right now people are really looking into what's really happening. They want to know
Mm-hmm.
raw information. That's why there's a thin line between those two things. That's why people would say it's fake news or it's misinformation, it's disinformation. And the responsibility of journalists will come in. So this is the time that they can cross check, they can fact check, they can say that, oh, it's not true, or it may be expressed differently, all those
Mm-hmm.
sorts of things. So people are looking for answers.
Answers. Okay, so I'm going to switch to media trust, Kayla, because that answer is quite relevant to the next question that I'm going to ask to you. So yeah, in the said survey, the number of Filipinos trust the media less. Why is that?
Probably because people does not know who to believe anymore. There are certain news entities that report news differently, or
Mm-hmm.
how they show the news in such a way that the angle itself. So
Mm-hmm.
people are looking for different angles in general. So they want to know if this claim is really true, if this report is really true. They don't know who to believe anymore. So the sad thing is some of them or most of them resort to unverified news. So
Mm-hmm.
they perceive the mainstream media outlets as leaning somehow towards a single side of the story. So it should be always both sides of the story. As responsible journalists, we are taught to always report at least two sides of the story. Going back to the traditional media in print, TV, and radio,
Mm-hmm.
we have a standard format. So whenever we report news, there should be two sides of the story. So if you remember, some would say, we tried to get the comment of Juan de la Cruz regarding this issue, but
Mm-hmm.
he or she or the person did not respond to our news. That's already balanced news. So In
Mm.
social media, some news outlets just show only opinions of other other those those people who they interview. So
Mm.
people are looking for more. They really want to know both sides of the story, as to what the traditional media has been presented before.
I see. Okay, so meaning to say that people tend to trust the media less because one news, one media network will only rely on one information, right?
Yeah, no,
On one
not really one
sources.
information. We understand that somehow, so media will report this issue, and then they will do a follow up for
Mm-hmm.
story B and
Mm-hmm.
then story C. But given the online metrics, it's really hard to let people know. Maybe I did not see the story B, the answer to that previous interview, and then
Mm-hmm.
I only saw A and C, letter A and letter C. So it's very tricky. It's very tricky when it comes to the metrics, especially in the online platform. So people are looking for other sides. They want
Mm-hmm.
vulgar, they want bold, and that is in the identity of vloggers.
I see. But yeah, but also there's a prevalence of fake news and disinformation right now. So, would that affect the trust in the media as well?
I don't think it will affect media, because media should always be telling the truth. So it's really in the
Mm-hmm.
identity. Remember, press freedom or freedom of the press is already ingrained in the institution, in our constitution. So that's very important. Is That's one of the things that the media has, freedom of the press. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think disinformation will really affect the credibility of media institutions.
I see. Okay, I would like to ask this question, Kayla. Does media coverage of certain politicians or political groups play a key role in the decreasing media trust? Because remember, there are some people who are supporting a particular politician or groups, right? Does that play a significant role?
Maybe remember, our survey was conducted from March 15 to March 20.
Mm-hmm.
So on those dates, so many things have happened. Um 90 it was prior to that, the start of the 90-day campaign period.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of sorties, there are a lot of proclamation rallies.
Mm-hmm.
Former President Duterte was sent to the ICC a few days before, and then there's the TRICOM hearing on misinformation and disinformation and also fake news. So people might be expecting more from media.
Mm-hmm.
So other people are saying, why has this not been covered by the media, most especially in the province? There are
Mm-hmm.
things happening in this province. Why are there no media mileage? Why are there no media
Mm-hmm.
coverage? What's happening? So um they want to have their own voice, share of voice
Mm-hmm.
from other areas. Not to mention the impeachment complaint as well. So there are
Mm-hmm.
really a lot of issues happening on the
Yeah.
in the last 3 months.
Yeah, I see. Okay. I have a data here, Caleb, regarding the survey, particularly the media networks and news outlets trust data. I would like to start here from for GMA Network. They gained media trust of 42%. That's I think a drop from 47% last year.
Yeah.
As well as the Philippine Daily Inquirer, that's 38%, a significant drop of 42%, as well as a Philippine Star at 36, down from 40, and Manila Bulletin 41 from 41 down to 35, ABS-CBN online 40% down to 34, and News 5 or TV5 from 38% last year down to 31%. So all of these media outlets are experience a significant drop,
Mhm.
right, Kayla?
I
So
would,
so what does
yeah, I
that
would,
mean?
yeah, I would say aside from the issues that that have been happening recently, and also it's also a factor about the campaign period probably, because
Mm-hmm.
some netizens are looking for reports from these institutions about the candidates
Mm-hmm.
they're supporting, and they're looking for what's happening, why are they not covering these people, what are the stories about these people, why are news outlets only presenting these people.
I see. Okay, and there's also like a theory in communication, like I think it's a gatekeeping theory,
Yes.
Kayla, that is affecting the way reporters deliver the news.
Yes, and also we really, honestly, we really cannot report all 64 senatorial candidates,
Uh-huh.
and even how many news entities we have. It's really hard. It's really hard to get all those.
Okay, those information from those
So that's
people.
why
Mhm.
some news outlets are also doing interviews about about the candidates. So
Yeah,
since January, they've been trying to get a hold of certain candidates, and they want to get their stand on on certain issues.
I see. And some media outlets tend to miss out some candidates because and that and by that it's resulting to a candidate not being you know not being introduced well to the public. Is
Maybe
Mhm.
yes, or I could say maybe that candidate does not want to be interviewed for media's fair sake as well.
I see.
So
Hmm.
we really don't know. Maybe the candidate does not want to be interviewed. There are also candidates who does not want to be interviewed.
Okay. So, given that media networks bearing the decline or sharing the decline rate of this year, so how should the media organizations bring back trust to the public? Okay. Uh-huh.
Maybe we should go back to where it all started. Always report two sides of the story. Balanced news. If on social media we were able to report just one side of the story, we can always comment some relevant articles pertaining to that initial news that we have posted, or the media entities have posted. Always ensure that there is still a balanced news, and always go back to media law and ethics, how we report things, because once people understand that this is really how news has to be reported,
Mm-hmm.
they will go to that um they will go to that area, they will go to that part. Oh, this is not how this is wrong, this is not how it should be reported. And also just stop clickbaits, and just to increase media engagement or social media engagement. So we should always be reporting um back to really the traditional way, and let that
Mm-hmm.
be uh adopted on social media. Again, for fine my last uh takeaway here is that in the Constitution, there is really the freedom of the press. The press has every right to report what's right,
Mm-hmm.
what's really balanced news, the two sides of the story. There is a provision in the Constitution that protects the press, the traditional media.
Okay. And last point for media consumption, Kayla. So, what should the media industry consider these days, given that people are shifting their way of getting information through online means?
Sorry.
Yeah. What should the media industry consider these days, given that people are shifting their way of getting information through online? So, what should the traditional media
Yeah.
industry?
It's really okay to shift to online. It's really the way to go. We should always adapt, but make sure that we bring the values that we have through from the traditional media to online and not just resort to clickbaits and catchy headlines, but it does not really reflect what the news is all about.
So, meaning to say, Kayla, uh, reporters and anchors should stick to the truth and not on, meaning, let's say, overreacting or overacting or made some uh, I don't know how to say that, but yeah,
It's
reporters
not
should
really
stick to the truth
overacting.
only.
Opinions are still welcome. Your usual how we report things. Make sure to fact check proactively.
Yeah.
We are the fact checkers. Media identities are the ones who should present that this is the fact.
Hmm. And should not overblown that news or make it
Yeah.
like
Make it too sensational.
sensational. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that
that's right.
yeah.
That's the term.
Somehow there are others who do it sensationally. So maybe we should not be too sensational about certain issues.
I see. Okay. And with that, thank you so much,
Fact checkers
Miss
is
Kayla
very
Villan.
important.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Kayla Villanueva, the Quad Media Analyst from Publicos Asia. Thank you for joining us in the program to discuss the recent survey released by your organization regarding media trust here in the Philippines and how the media should address this issue. Thank you, Miss Kayla, for joining us in the program.
Thank you very much.
And you just heard Ms. Kayla Villanueva, the Quad Media Analyst from Publicos Asia, on the media trust here in the Philippines. And front and center will be right back after these messages.
Para may maayos na pundasyon para sa kabataang Pilipino, inutos ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na magpatayo ng Child Development Centers or CDCs sa mga low-income barangays sa bansa.
These CDCs are venues for the implementation of early childhood care and development center programs and services, especially the early learning programs and family support program. Sa mga center na ito, maaaring makapaglaro, makapagbasa, at makapag-aral ang ating mga kabataan. It can also be used as a resource center for developmentally appropriate learning materials and a laboratory for conducting research, data gathering, and innovations about early childhood.
Pangako ng Pangulo na hindi titigil ang pamahalaan sa pagbibigay ng kinakailangang suporta para sa mga bata dahil sila ang magmamana at magpapatibay naman ng pundasyon ng ating bansa sa hinaharap.
The government continues to find ways to support our children so they can grow, they can thrive, and reach full potential. Through health and community programs, we remain committed to helping them become productive members of our society.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738. Ating gunitain sa araw na ito, sakripisyo at kabayanihan ng mga sundalong Pilipino at Amerikano noong panahon ng World War II. Para sa demokrasya, nanatili ang tatag ng kanilang puso at katapatan sa bayan sa kabila ng kaliwat kanang pahirap ng mga sundalong Hapones habang naglalakad sa Death March. Ang pagbagsak ng Bataan ay isang pagpapaalala hindi ng pagkatalo kundi ng pagpapakita ng tunay na kagitingan at pagmamahal sa Pilipinas. Naway maging inspirasyon sa atin ang bahaging ito ng kasaysayan sa ating pagharap sa mga pagsubok sa kasulukuyan. Kaisa ang Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko sa paggunita ng Araw ng Kagitingan.
Hatol ng Bayan. Election Quick Facts.
National and local positions. Sa darating na May 12, 2025 midterm elections, ang bawat botanteng Pilipino ay pipili ng mga bagong leaders para sa national and local positions kabilang ang 12 senators, members of the House of Representatives, at party list representatives, at local government officials gaya ng governor, mayor, board members at councilors. Kasabay nito ay idiraos rin ang kauna-unahang Bangsamoro Parliament elections kung saan 25 members of the parliament at 40 party representatives ang ihahalal ng ating mga kapatid sa BARMM.
Hatol ng bayan. Election Quick Facts.
Isipin ang isang lugar kung saan ang progreso at kalikasan ay magkasabay na lumalago. Sa ilalim ng Administrasyon Marcos, ginagawang posible ito ng Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority.
Sa administrasyon po ni PBBM, nilaunch po namin noong September yung Carbon Neutral Freeport Zone. Ito po ay aming goal to contribute reducing our carbon emissions.
Hindi lang ito usapin ng teknolohiya, ito ay pangako. Sa SBMA, inuuna ang pangangalaga sa kagubatan, bakawan at natural na yaman para sa hinaharap ng bawat Pilipino.
We are working towards a steady and reliable power supply that will meet the demands of today and continuously fuel our ambitions for tomorrow.
Ang kalikasan at kinabukasan ay magkasabay na pinangangalagaan. Sa pamahalaang Marcos, ang bagong Pilipinas nakikita na. Sa nagbabagong Pilipinas, patuloy ang trabaho, patuloy ang pagbabago.
Radyo Pilipinas World Service Online, reaching you in digital format. Anytime, anywhere. From Manila, Philippines.
And welcome back to Front and Center. And you just heard and watched of the program's interview with Ms. Kayla Villanueva, the Quad Media strategist of Publicos Asia, because the survey company has released its survey regarding media trust. And she mentioned earlier in the program that media organizations, particularly reporters, should and must fact check and try to obtain the side or two sides of the story, not just one, and that's a very and that's vital because people these days tend to shift their attention or to get their information other than one sources but to another. So media organizations should consider getting their information from different sources as well. Okay, and before we proceed into the program, so there will be a today is the Philippines commemorates the Day of Valor, or in Filipino, Araw ng Kagitingan, wherein Filipino and or the Philippines commemorates the bravery and the bravery of the Filipino and American soldiers who fought against Japanese imperial forces during World War II. So more than 70,000 combined Filipino and American forces have surrendered in after the 4-month-long Battle of Bataan. So in that surrender, the Filipino and American soldiers were forced to march more than 100 kilometer from Bataan all the way to Capas Tarlac, and that's what we call the Bataan Death March. So earlier today, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. led the commemoration of the 83rd Araw ng Kagitingan, or Day of Valor, in Pilar, Bataan. And today, the president will be or will be attending the commemoration of the Day of Valor in Camp Aguinaldo in Quezon City, wherein he will he will join the families and beneficiaries of soldiers from the armed forces of the Philippines and the police from the Philippine National Police who were killed in action, and also the wounded in action in a gathering at the Tejeros Hall inside the military camp. So this is not just about the commemoration of our Filipino veterans, but as well as Filipino military officers and soldiers, as well as police, are included in this celebration. So we are commemorating the bravery of our men in uniform. So it's a very vital celebration for men in uniform as well. So today's solemn event will pay tribute to the military, police, and their support units as they continue to perform their sworn duties to defend and secure the state. And also take note of this, to maintain peace and order, recognizing the invaluable contribution to the pursuit of just and lasting peace throughout the nation, and as well as defending our sovereignty. And before we conclude this program, so please watch out for the speech of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. throughout the broadcast of Radio Pilipinas World Service. So please stand by for that speech of the Chief Executive. And that concludes this edition of Front and Center. Together with Radio Pilipinas World Service production team and technical personnel, Milo Janela, Hiro Lucero, and Leo Magpayo. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay, love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radio Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.